Hello and welcome to another episode of Healing Through the Leaf. I am your host, Nurse Coach Odie, and the MexiCanna RN, your Nebraska Cannabis Nurse. Here joining me today is Anissa from Well Fed Wolf, and we have lots of wonderful, amazing things to talk about. Her and her son are in business together, so let's dive right into it.
I am so excited and I love watching. Sorry, I'm like stirring my tea. And I love watching your content and putting yourself out there, and I love the rawness of it. So you are doing amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's entrepreneurship is scary, but it's
Yes.
it's a spiritual journey for sure. And then just yeah, definitely like I see where I want to be, and like I feel like, oh my gosh, it's like happening, and it's super exciting, and I definitely want to share with people, because I don't know, why not share, the things that you're doing, especially as a nurse. I'm like, man, I think more nurses need to advocate and speak up and be
Yeah.
real. Like if you pop a gummy like every day, I mean, it's not, I just hate the stigma that people have toward cannabis. Like it's so terrible. And I'm like, oh my God, it's this life-giving medicine. And it's that's like definitely, I just wish I could shake some people, but
I
um,
know.
let them, they have to come to their own realization. And we've been lied to, and like I'm huge. I feel like a huge conspiracy theorist. Sometimes I'm like all the propaganda, but it's true. Like Reefer Madness is not a
Yes.
freaking documentary.
No. Well, and you're right. It's the only plant that houses you, feeds you, clothes you, medicates you, and leaves the ground and the earth better than when it was planted. And right. And I use that a lot because, and it's so sad that, like, with as much progression as we've had, that there's still this much stigma. And I have to be very honest with you, too. Even within the community, I get floored about how many people within the community don't have as much knowledge on the plant.
Oh
And I
yeah, and how
think,
awesome it is.
I know. I
Yeah.
mean, and like all the minor cannabinoids and what they do. And, there's this whole thing, and like, God, my God, get me started on this. There's this whole thing of like, high THC, high THC, high THC.
Right, right.
And I'm always like, it's not always about the the extra potency. It's about the marrying of how was it planted? What was it in the ground? What terpenes are in it? What
Yes,
cannabinoids in it? It's the whole part of it. And
absolutely.
I always find that so interesting when everyone's like, oh my gosh, just full potency. I'm like, but you're missing out on all the other parts of it and how amazing it is. And it was really weird because obviously, we have a business. And I just recently went on to Twitter, which I cannot stand social media as it is. It's not my thing, but I know in today's age we have to.
Right. No,
So
absolutely. You're like, I got to do this anyway. So,
yeah, and some of it I love, like this kind of stuff.
yeah.
The other stuff I'm just like find so tedious. But it was so interesting. Like I had done something about a CBD salve, and then I had some comments that came back, and these people were like, "Is it really helpful? I feel like it." And I was, what they even say? They were like, "Feel like feels like it's snake oil," and then I'm like,
Like, do you know what it's like? It is wild though, like how much people don't know. Because I will say, like, yeah, I find myself evolving throughout time, because there was a time where I used to be judgy about like, if
we all are.
pregnant women like smoked or something, or they used consumed, and I'm like, now I'm like, uh do whatever you want. Like I would rather do that than put like Zofran in my body for hyperemesis syndrome, or any of that sort of thing. Like even just that knowledge, where like we people who are so, I don't know, like sold on pharmaceuticals, when there's so many other things that you could do in it. And it's not just like cannabis or THC and CBD. I mean, there's so many other things. Like I've dove into like clove oil is magical. Oh my God.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
magical.
Yes. Well, I mean, we tease all the time and say, Phoenix, my son is the hemp guy and I'm the botanical lady. And the boys have called me a wood witch because I'm always constantly, because they've grown up with me doing everything natural. And I'm literally going out and picking stuff out of the property and growing things. And yes, no, there's just plant magic,
Yes. Or even just
it's
putting your feet in the ground, like simple things like that.
yes.
Being near water or just, you know, getting the fuck away from the reality we've created,
Right? I
it's
know, I know. I feel like sometimes I'm born in the wrong era. I wouldn't mind, going back a little bit. I really, and even for me, as I've gotten older, kind of learning to slow down more and be more present. And that's why when you put some stuff out in one of your posts, I was like, Amen. Like, yes,
yeah,
find the grounding, find the time to breathe, find the time to connect. And um,
absolutely. I mean,
society's so fast paced, and then they
yes,
wonder why there's
disease. Yep,
dis-ease,
yep.
and just
Anxiety,
kind of, yeah,
like even like I always talk about anxiety and like I feel like it's just the cortisol that we've trapped in our body from like throughout time, and then I never people are like, oh my gosh, have you read this book called The Body Keeps Score? And I was like, no, I actually a friend of mine had it and I started reading it and I was like, oh my God, like I I don't want to put it down because it's like verbatim the things that I think, and it's wild because it really talks about how um to me, like medicine is so made up. Everything to me is so made up anyway. Like we put these rules and these implementations in policy procedure, and yet like when something crazy happens like COVID, we just throw it all away, and then we're expected to go back to the same old damn thing. Like we haven't even really progressed from that. We weren't like, oh, let's learn from this and change all of these things. Maybe we changed a few things, but have we?
right,
No, we just went back to implementing the same old shit we had before, and we're expecting to what make it different. Nah, like this shit is
right,
broken beyond repair.
right. Well, and what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a
Right.
different outcome. And my
Exactly.
goodness, you could say that that's, the world as it is today.
For
It's
sure.
like, yeah. And to your point, and again, without sounding kind of conspiracy, but as
Oh,
you
girl,
get older and you
let's.
start becoming more aware
Yeah,
and trying to think for yourself and not always just go off of everything that's just kind of mass. But that is what they want. It makes
right.
it easier for those that are in more influential or, positions of power and then tied to finances.
Right.
That's normally what it comes down to.
Yep.
That anything that is of the earth, anything that is of nature. I mean, I just had this conversation with my mom, who's very alternative and she's wonderful. I adore her. But we were having this conversation and I was like, we've gotten so far. Like, how did our society survive? How did we get here?
Right.
How are all of us here? Many millennia of people and matriarchs and whatnot survived from the earth, from nature,
Right.
utilizing that without everything that we have. So humankind is able to survive. The things that have been put in place is evolution technology wise, but not necessary evolution human wise. I feel like we're digressing, not
Right.
in a good way, not in a good
Absolutely.
way.
Because we are so disconnected from the natural that we're so disconnected from each other. And it's all a game. Like not to sound conspiracy theorist, but for sure. But the fact that cannabis or plant medicine is the thing that kind of wakes you up a little bit. It's like, hold on, let me start think this is different. Or I really do feel because even when you do like shrooms, like different parts of
Mm,
your brain light up that
yeah.
we never use. So why is
Oh,
that bad? Like to me, I'm
right,
like, what? Like we don't use, I keep saying like we don't use that much of our brain to begin with, and you're telling us we can't even try this amazing plant that's here that God put on this planet, that she was like, "Hey, try this. I'm going to wake you up. You're going to talk to me." Like and like to me like that was taken away from us for that specific reason. To sound like a conspiracy theorist, I don't care. But like honestly, we're
Yeah.
made to be like these little cogs and these little wheels to keep this insanity going, to be
Yeah.
like, I don't know. That
Yeah.
is really conspiracy theorist, but ultimately, it sucks because we do have to play the game, right? Because we have to,
You do, and it's hard. It's like trying to find that balance. And,
right?
I think that's the thing. Um, for me, that has been a major focus for me for like well, I've always felt like I've had that focus, and then you get off your path, and because you kind of get pulled in one direction, and then you try to like get back on it. And so for me right now, it has been like, how do I balance that? I want to step back because I don't want to be part of the problem. That I realize that that means it's going to ostracize me a little bit.
Yeah,
That means if I am not as financially successful because I choose to slow down and find my happiness and my joy and my wellness in something that is not more the norm, how do I then still make sure I maintain that balance because of everything else in the society and the world is still going to be there? And that's the hard part, because there are times I would love to just like find 40 acres, make a little hut, just live there and tell everyone, go.
yeah, yeah. Or let's go like even a sound more like not like more out. What's the good word? What's a good word for this? More. Okay, this is what I want to do. I think it would be so great that we created this, religion of women to be out there. Kind of, I don't know how you grew up, but what made me think of this is I grew up in a very religious home, and I work in a long-term care facility, and I kind of see like what being it, not like I see, I'm assuming that this is what happened. Like it's shoved down their throat and they're regressing back to like, and
Yeah.
it's so disheartening. Like, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of working in a long-term care facility and then seeing the things, being a part
I
of like
see.
feeling like I'm a part of the problem, but at the same time, I want to be like that person who burned her bra at like, not that I wear one, but to sit there and do the
Yeah.
damn thing,
Right. Yep.
trying, I'm voicing my opinion, and you're right, like you're ostracized, like it can be scary, but you're finding that balance, or like I understand that, like being in academia and a nurse, I find it to be very scary sometimes.
Mhm.
Or people ask me all the time, like, how do you pass your drug test? I mean, honestly, I haven't been drug tested in a minute. I just simply am honest for the most part, and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be able to pass that if you want me to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I'm just, and they're like, okay, that's cool. Because it's not like they're I mean, I am very honest about what I do and open about it, obviously. And so, and people know, and they're like, we still want you here. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think, I think the other part, and here's the thing, I stepped down from running a very profitable company, was high up in the company, um, doing very well financially. And when COVID hit and experiencing everything we committed, or we went through, and I was even in school to further my education even farther in a financial degree because that made sense. Just keep going.
Right, right, yeah.
But I was like, no, I don't really want to do this. But where I'm going with this, and I'm sorry I got sidetracked,
Oh, you're
was I was over all this that would, have to follow the rules and regulations and, have people who had to be drug tested for things. And it was interesting because we would have I had I was right below the owner. So I have an owner who would not understand the benefits of, medical marijuana for people who literally had it through their MMJ because it was necessary for them to have it.
right.
And there's that balance between, I understand that if there is stuff that is an impairment, and then, I get the reasoning behind it. But then you would have other people who are on synthetic opioids for the same thing,
And that's
and
okay.
that was okay.
Absolutely, 100%.
And you're going,
What? Yeah.
we really are backwards on this stuff. And the
So
whole thing,
backwards.
the whole thing needs to be thrown out. And I granted that's never going to happen, but everything the way it's constructed needs to be thrown out, looked at things and given a different way. You cannot treat the plant, you cannot try to have it legalized, try to allow people to go through everything they go through to get their, their MMJ licenses, therefore to follow what they're doing so that they don't have any extra crap. And then have people who are on things that are much more harmful
Right.
actually change their minds and say that's okay for them to be on it. But then
Right.
because of the stigma behind it,
Hmm.
that has been filled by people who cannot monetize it. Therefore, they've villainized it and made it to be what we're fighting against now. It's like, do you see the hypocrisy in that?
Oh my
And
God,
so
so much. Yes.
yeah. So I think, even like with what we were talking about, all we can do is be that one part of trying to balance between both worlds.
Right.
And it keeps growing and keeps growing from there. I mean, it has made progress,
Right. Right.
but then it feels like it's, still, I mean, there's so much work still to be done. There's
Oh my
so
God,
many people
yes.
that don't understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and who have, bought, fish, line, hook, sinker, that, there's, the fact that we even still talk about reefer madness and people think that that's real, just,
Yeah. 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 No, seriously. It's just wild. Like it makes me want to laugh, but at the same time, like, what the fuck? Like, why are we? I don't. I don't get it. Like it's the devil's lettuce and they don't get it. And it's so hard to, I'm not here to convince anybody, but
right,
generally it's after like I will say in my community, having met a couple of nurses and stuff and then just being very, like, hey, yeah, like I consume, that's what I do, blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, oh my gosh, really? Like you're like all the time? And I'm like, pretty much, I'm either I cook with it, I take a gummy or I like to smoke, I vape, whatever, like it's the thing that keeps me grounded the fastest. I can't be meditating all damn day. That thing brings me where I need to be with pain and with my lupus and stuff. So it's uh it's a win for me and like it brought me back life and then they're like, oh my gosh, okay, and then I give them the nerd stuff. Like nerd out on the endocannabinoid system and the CB1 CB2 receptor sites and they're just like, what, but it doesn't always like turn everybody. It just makes them more open, more curious. I have heard a
yes,
couple of nurses talk about they learned about the endocannabinoid system in like their neurology class or something. So I feel like there is progress. However, where we were at one point in time that it was used all over the world and for things like um, epilepsy and what would have
right,
been considered Parkinson's disease that
right.
if you were just to see it with your own eyes, it's just like wow, like why would you not even consider something like that if you want your life to be different? And these pills, like you said, they're just so harmful. What you made me think of when you were talking about that is I trained a nurse overnight and she was acting a little weird, and I'm like, this is a stressful job. I get it. Maybe she's having a bad day, whatever. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden I can't find her and she's like knocked out, because she was, I don't
You
know.
were, yeah,
She was
an assumption of there was
she was
something else going
she
on.
was
Yeah,
high and
yeah,
we were trying to wake her up and that actually having that happen to me, I was like, what in the world? I like the plant would never put me in that sort of, like, would it make me feel sick if I took too much and I wanted to die? Yes, I'd be
yes,
puking and feeling like shit and I would want
right.
to die, but that'd be my own fault for not like knowing, asking the
And
questions and just putting
right,
stuff in my body.
right,
But like if
yes,
people are educated and consume it correctly, just like any pharmaceutical, then, it would be so beneficial. And not just, like you said, THC, hemp hearts. Oh my God, like the whole damn plant, the whole damn.
yeah, yes, yeah. And I think that's the thing I find just, just absolutely amazing. And being someone who's always like um done things with plants, between the plant, you being able to use the roots, being able to use, the leaves, being able to use, the actual flower. There's so much from plants that we can use medicinally. And I love that, how that transpires even within, the cannabis plants, because there's, obviously the more psychoactive, but then you've got, the whole thing can be utilized for, for wellness. And
Yes.
anything that comes from the earth that has that much, and anything, I just find beyond amazing and small, because you look at these things that have been created by whatever your belief is,
Right.
and how it can actually benefit everything around us and human beings. And that I always just, the symbioticness of it, and the interaction with it. I will love the smell of the plants. Phoenix will grow certain ones, or he'll get something, and like the different smells of them. And like, I really love pinene a lot, lemonine. So whenever I get certain ones, I just love the smell of them.
Yes.
Obviously the benefits are different, and then some of them, just the beautiful colors. And I
Yes.
think if you had those conversations with people, they would just be like, I'm like, it's still a plant. I was like, whether you want to consume or not, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
So I'm like, if
it
we could
is.
have more appreciation. I mean, just like the fact that if you go on person's property and they would see broadleaf plantain, narrowleaf plantain, they consider that a weed. If if you go on, dandelions,
Right. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, these are not, it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Anything, we've been sold these bills that this stuff is bad, but they actually have medicinal purposes.
Right. And you can eat
And
them. Yeah. But like, do I want to
yes,
eat them after they've been sprayed with, like our ground has been sprayed with,
yes,
you
yeah.
know?
Well, and our pollinators, and like how all of that is, so, the cycle of like we can't live without the bees,
Right.
so all these things are tied. And like, see, I start getting going. I'm going
No,
down
yes,
the,
absolutely, though you're correct. I mean, if we just grew hemp, I mean, I feel like that would solve a lot of the problem. I mean, I feel like even when I'm smoking out in the middle of nowhere, I'm bees or bumblebees, they like come, they're like, oh, I smell the weed, I'm coming. Like, I love it. I don't know. I just the plant, like you talk about it, yes. The colors, the trichomes, even just
oh
the
yes,
smells, and then kind of
yeah,
like you learn what different terpenes are from the smells, and
yep,
it's like, oh, and I feel like honestly that kind of intuition in there, maybe you don't know a lot about the plant, but like the thing that you're like, oh, I really am feeling citrusy this time around, so let me buy some citrusy. Or even if people were to grow the plant, I feel like there's some kind of symbiosis there where it will create like the medicine it needs for you. Like I 100% believe that woo-woo shit right there. So like yeah, even with the water, like speaking life into people, like
yeah,
speak life into
yeah.
others, and instead of like talking shit or being mean. But yeah, in everything I feel like you'll grow it into something that is beneficial for you, the plant,
Mhm.
people. Like just kind of going on a rant there, sorry.
No, that's okay. Well, it's funny because my aunt, is a huge horticulturist, and she does a lot of stuff. And it was so funny. We got together for it's graduation. I was trying to remember what it was for. My nephew's graduation, and she came by, and she knows what we do for her business, and she knows that I grow. And we talk about plants and stuff all the time, and so she's so funny. We're with family, and everyone's fine with what we do. So so she starts whispering. She goes, "I'm gonna grow some pot plants." I'm like, "You don't have to whisper."
That's so cute. Oh
And
my
she's like,
God.
I don't know if I'm going to use it for anything. She's like, I just want to know that I can do it. And I'm like, I
That's
think that's
awesome.
awesome. I said, but
Yeah.
please do not destroy the plants. If you're not going to use it, come to me.
I know, right?
We'll come
Let
harvest.
me
I'm
have,
like,
yeah.
don't do that. But it was just so cute. But I was also, she's pretty conservative. So I was like, this is growth. This is
Yes.
encouraging. This is openness going. it's not taboo.
Right.
If you don't want to use it to consume, but you want to grow, it's like it's going to enrich your garden. You can compost if you want to. Please don't give it to me. Um, but I
Right. Yeah.
love, so like those are those small moments where you're like, there's some positivity to where like
Yeah.
some of it's, but I did think it was funny that, she was whispering. I'm like, you don't have to whisper.
That
It's okay.
that's
And
so
that in
cute.
itself is funny.
Yeah, that's so cute. I love it. I have a question for you. How did you get started growing? So like what exactly is it all that you do? If you don't mind talking about that a little bit.
As far as the business,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the name of your business is
Oh,
Well-Fed Wolf, right? Right. Yeah.
Well-Fed Wolf.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, that came from. I'm very connected to more Native American beliefs. I have been ever since I was a kid. And this is really a lore from many indigenous people, but specifically, it was through the Cherokee people that I found the lore. And it's about the two wolves. So there is it's a grandfather talking to his grandson, and it was talking about the wolves and what you feed, and darkness and negativity and jealousy and envy is feeding a more dark path, the dark wolf, and love and joy and uplifting and lightness and positivity is the white wolf, and more of the path of the light. And so I was like, well fed. We're a well fed wolf. We choose well fed. So that's where the name came from.
Awesome.
And yeah, and really started the business, like I said, kind of without going further, when COVID hit. And I was in a business where I was doing everything right. It was very clinical. It was making me good money. It was very disconnected. I've been doing herbalism and more nature derived since I was in my 20s. And that was always been my passion. And I literally was online for school taking I was getting my other degree, and I was online. I literally was doing it from home. I was upstairs 11 o'clock at night taking this test, run down the stairs to Phoenix, and I said, we are going to start a e-commerce wellness site. You can focus on your hemp because it's really something, and that's, I'll tell a little bit more about that for him. I'm going to focus more on the botanical side, but I want to put something out there that I feel good about, that I know is putting something out there that is not harmful, that is helpful, and that is feels good. And I literally had us incorporated in like a week and a half.
Oh, wow. That's
And it
amazing.
was funny. Yeah. So because it went whole totally different direction, what I was doing. And my son Phoenix, who is in business with me, and we share this, so I'm comfortable sharing this with him. He had was self-medicating in high school, and we really didn't know what was. We did not know. We found out he was self-medicating with different things, and we ended up having him diagnosed, and he had clinical depression and clinical anxiety. And so at the time, he was a junior. And so he was feeling so bad that it was his choice. He just wanted to get on something to make him feel better. And I think he graduated. So it was right after his senior year. He had been on a lot of the synthetics, hated them, horrible, really wasn't my child anymore. He just like, going through the motions,
Yeah.
no emotions, but he didn't feel, and it still really wasn't helping him. Like no matter what they were trying to put him on, he couldn't quite get it.
Right.
So we were lucky enough that we had a wonderful psychiatrist who was very open to the cannabis. And Phoenix made the decision to remove himself off of all this. He's like, I feel like I'm wrapped in cotton. I don't feel like I'm myself, and I don't want to go through the rest of my life this way.
Yeah.
And to me, it's his body. So I want him to make the choices that he wanted to do.
Right.
And which is why when he put himself on the synthetics first, I was like, okay, because I was like going, oh my God, all the side effects, all these things.
Right. Yeah.
Like they're like, we're gonna blood test for this and check the liver. And I'm going, this is ridiculous.
Right.
So but I was like, okay, he needs to feel like he's in control of himself. So when he chose to do this, I was very happy for him. And to this day, and it's been a while, he is completely off all synthetic medicine and he only medicates himself. Yes, with the cannabis, also with functional mushrooms and other natural things. Obviously, also I can't wait till they actually get psilocybin officially.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
because Micro did amazing. That's a whole other conversation.
Oh my God,
Uh,
yes.
so I really fell in love with the plant because I got my son back and because I feel like it saved him.
Oh,
And that is where, because really, I never really partaked when I was younger. I just didn't. It wasn't my thing. And I still don't really, I use more of the minor cannabinoids. I don't really do a lot of the THC. I do like more full spectrum,
mhm.
more for me, just because I utilize a lot of other things. But what I use, like I love CBD, CBG, CBN, CBDV. I love those. And as I'm getting older, I'm usually trying to help, like, inflammation, pain,
Right.
because
Yeah.
getting the older, the
Yeah.
arthritis,
Oh
the
man, I
stuff.
feel that. Yes.
Yeah. But that's how we got we involved. And I think for that alone, um, is where my love of the plant came from. Seeing him come himself. And don't get me wrong, he still has those diagnoses.
Right.
He has to medicate every day in order to help him function and to be who he is. And
100. Yeah.
yeah, and the thing, and it's so funny because you have this stigma of what we think people, what we've been thrown is this
Hmm.
lazy person sitting down, having the munchies, basically Scooby Doo. Um,
Right.
but
Right. It's
yeah,
so annoying. I can't
yeah,
stand it. Yes.
exactly, Shaggy Scooby Doo. So, and I watch him, and he's probably like the most productive, most, like if you really didn't know him, you would not be able to know that he medicates.
Right.
Because he is not what is a stereotypical thought process of it. Other than the fact that we're a much more progressive alternative family, you could look at him and he's not very, but outside of that, I think that speaks volumes.
Oh yeah, no, 100% for real. Yes, I agree with you 100 because I mean that stigma is annoying. Um I was talking to somebody about that yesterday actually because I was having, I not I'm trying to be a little more vulnerable with the things I have to deal with when I do kind of feel like I have to balance out like or convince myself it's okay to when I wake up and medicate, like because if I don't, I may not want to get out of the bed or I may not be motivated. But as soon as I like wake up and bake up, it's like, okay, I got things to do. And even then it calms me down in a sense because I have PTSD and I've had some really crazy shit happen to me in my past. And, not really after reading that book too, it made me realize that yes, I know that I'm okay and I'm safe and everything, but my body is still somehow creating that cortisol because it doesn't know how
Yep.
to stop. So I'm constantly trying to make myself relax either through breathing, through my thoughts, or medicating because I mean, I just can't imagine like a little body growing up, being tense because they grew up in a dysfunctional home and then, trying to or not even having the ways to cope and then like being triggered and it made me think like, oh my God, I used to like fly off the handle at work and I think like I don't necessarily think that was me being angry. It might be something dumb. Like I wouldn't necessarily get mad about like I can't believe I got mad about that sort of thing. And or B, I was a dick about it and I think it just something triggered me and it might have been like my PTSD and my anxiety. Kind of looking back now because of the environment that I was in.
Right.
Um but yeah, like if I didn't have my medication and it didn't allow me to slow down and give myself grace and put my feet in the ground because I think that is way better than the alternative because I have my life back. I can walk, I can breathe. I'm not like feeling like shit every day. Then by all means, to me, I'm going to choose the plant all day, every day. And I might, glorify it. And that's why, because like you said, for you, your son, it gave you your son back. Like who doesn't want that? And I hear people say things like that. Like it gave me I'm sure my son is like, it gave me my mom back. Like I was miserable and angry and hurting and tired. And it's just like the snowball thing. So when I embraced the plant and I wasn't afraid of the stigma and fuck everybody. Like you don't like the fact that I medicate myself so I'm in school, I'm doing the things, or you're productive and you're a decent human being and you're kind and you're radiating this like your son
Right.
radiates this light I can't even explain. It's just and it's you can just
Yeah.
tell. So
Yeah.
yeah, all day, every day, I would choose the plant, and if they take away my job, then that's okay. And that's what the plant does for me. I will go down a negative spiral, and as soon as I smoke, and it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter if I lose my job because I'm gonna be okay. Like in the end, there's something else I can do. And that's what it does for me. It makes me calm down and change my perspective instead of going down the spiral. I'm like, It's gonna be okay. Like, who cares if the my house burns down? I have house insurance. Like I'm gonna be all right in the end. And that
Right.
is what plant medicine does, be it mushrooms or cannabis
Yeah.
or whatever. It's just grounding yourself, meditation, like that's what it does for me. And all day I will choose that over a pharmaceutical because a pharmaceutical was literally killing me,
Yeah.
literally just killing me. There's my rant. I'm sorry.
And no, and I think that's beautiful because we're well, and unfortunately it speaks to where we're at as a society because we want everything this quick fix.
Yeah,
And we, our people, human beings, were not meant to move at the speed of light. You know, the the reason we are having all these things that we have is because, and obviously I am not a doctor, but I also am not an idiot.
right.
And
Amen, girl. Yeah,
I,
right.
you know, you look at the evolution of when technology started coming in and, synthetic medicines start coming in and, the rise in cancer, mortality rates, where uh, the disease that we have, the amount of increase of mental illness and where it's at. We don't think about what's going on in our body
Right,
and what's happening, but we're fine with, okay, it's a quick fix. I'm going to take this, even though it has a probably 14-page litany of, things that are going to be side effects, which
right,
could kill you. But
right,
I'm still going to take this because it's going to make it stop immediately, but it doesn't ever address the underlying issue that we need to figure out how
right,
to be in our bodies, to have coping mechanisms, to figure out how to know it's okay not to be okay.
right,
Some people need more help than others. That's okay.
right,
Some people have literally things going on in their bodies that they cannot change. But let's stop saying, okay, this person's okay because they're now on 5 different opioids, even though it's literally killing their liver and destroying and could possibly cause some cancerous effects, and you're bleeding from your rectum.
right. Your bones are being
But,
destroyed. Your brain is being
but
destroyed.
yeah, but you're going to stigmatize someone who is taking care of themselves, still functioning, still contributing, is a better human being, and is taking something that's natural that is not causing harm to themselves.
Right.
And somehow that is the witch doctor, and that's what we're fighting against. You're fighting
Yes.
against you're fighting against the push and pull of capitalism and the fact that we are a more reactive race than proactive,
Yes.
and too many people don't want to do the hard work to have. And don't get me wrong, I love things to be faster and quicker where they can,
Right.
but I've also learned here, and very much more recently, I feel like in the last 5 years. We had some horrible things happen in our family that made me really step back and take stock of a little bit of even where I was at in my life and how I was looking at things. And I was already trying to move more towards a wellness, atmosphere. But I'm more removing myself from what is supposed to be life and, what is the expected life and trying to
Right,
move back and going, no, that's okay. If I'm not as financially successful or if I don't have this or things, I said, I'm okay with that. And,
right,
and we're fine. But I'm like going, if I take our business takes longer to kick off because I'm not willing to jump into this arena or someone doesn't really like our business because I'm participating in that, I'm okay with that.
right.
I'd
Yeah,
rather be grounded and in a good place and feel like I'm not contributing to the problem, you
right. No,
know.
for sure.
So, and now
Yeah.
I'm off my tangent.
No, you're good. No, I love it. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that it'd be nice to live on a homestead and be able to provide for myself. I don't really want to be like that whole idea of dependency is what gets me, I want to be able to, yeah, I live in like not in I would like to live out in the middle of nowhere, on a farm and
Yeah.
not have to deal with, being in the city, but I don't live in a really big city. I live in Nebraska, so there's a
Okay.
lot of cornfields here, but
Yeah.
I would love to just kind of be able to grow hemp.
Yeah.
Um, I have a hard time keeping plants alive, but I am growing. I just tried growing some raspberries and blackberries, and they're growing, so I'm excited.
Oh my goodness. That's going to be delicious. That would be great.
Heck yeah.
Raspberry leaves are excellent. Excellent, excellent. Make sure that even if you don't get the fruit, um, keep the raspberry leaves and dry them out. They're wonderful tea and they're very good for hormonal
Heck yeah.
regulation. Yeah,
Heck yeah. I didn't even
yeah,
think of that until after I bought them. I was like, oh my God, like I buy raspberry leaf tea all the time, but like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
I'm growing it. Dope.
Now you're growing it, so
Yeah.
that's amazing. And that's why we did. That's like what the business for us. That's why like the products that we do, um, between the hemp products that we do and then the natural, it's just being able to provide things that people can utilize in their life. It's more for me, it's more like it's a lifestyle. It's like choosing a wellness path. And I
Yeah.
always kind of say, like, what you put in, on, and around you should be as clean as natural possible. So that's, between the hemp products that we do, between, the edibles and, what you're taking in, and then topical, and then the botanical side, it's it's a choice for you if you want to do something that you're not putting something harmful around you. That's
Exactly.
really like, and we still have like we try to do as much, recyclable and reusable, and we still have so much to like, to continue to do to, try to be even more eco-friendly. But that's like what the company is for me, is like, I want to represent something that, like, if people want to try to find things that they know don't have harmful synthetics, and then you go, okay, you go to Well Fed Wolf, and then I love putting stuff on there about, info, how you can grow your own things. Do you want to make your own tincture? I love that. I love being able
Heck
to
yeah.
share that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So
Absolutely. I love the salve. I mean, I put it on my skin
that's
every night, like my face. And
that's right. I forgot.
I love that it's hemp, it's from the plant because, to me, I am I'm just like, I advocate for the plant so much. I'm like, yes, it'll make you younger. It'll make you look good. It'll make you smell good.
Well, I always tease. I need to get a t-shirt because I love hemp seed oil. Like, I mean, there's so many, like the hemp seed, like the botanical side and the hemp seed, obviously that's not any of the psychoactive whatsoever.
Yeah.
But the benefits from hemp seed oil
Oh
is
God.
just amazing. And I put so much of it in like so many of our products. And I'm always teasing, going, I need to get that one of those shirts that says I put that shit in everything.
Yeah, for sure. And it is amazing. Oh my God.
It
It's amazing. The whole damn plant. I can't get over the plant, period.
It
So,
is. That's what I think is funny too. It's like, not all of it, not all the benefits is always the psychoactive side. And like the seeds, the oil, how it, in skincare, in soaps, you can. make clothes out of it. I mean, I love the fact that they're making the hempcrete, which
Yes.
they're finding is stronger than like even conch. And I'm like going, thank you.
Yeah, and I guess it burns at a higher
Yeah,
temperature. So, yeah, I'm just like, wow, that's so amazing. Yes, 100. I'm like, I want a hempcrete house. Hell yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We make it happen. So I just love all of that, and hopefully it can just keep growing along those lines. And like those are easier cells, those are more acceptable cells, to the masses, because if they can get outside of their head of the psychoactive part, and you can see that there's more benefits. And I think those are things that are helpful to like kind of bring up going, it's not just this.
Right?
Yes, that's there, but it's this big, huge world of what, the hemp plant, what the plant itself can do and how it can benefit. And that I think is a big misnomer. I think
Yes.
there's just a lot that people don't realize that there's so much more to it than just that part of it. That's actually a small part of it.
Right. Like, or we actually did used to use hemp feed to feed our animals, and now we don't. And like, we have all
Yeah.
these diseases and autoimmune disorders. And what do we use now? We use antibiotics and steroids versus hemp feed. And then at one point we fed cows and, like caused a whole mad cow
Expo.
error. So like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we got to use our brains.
Yeah, yeah, I know. But yeah, we can go down that rabbit hole and probably be here for another 3 or 4 hours.
For real. Oh my God. That's funny. But anyways, is there anything you want to share with everybody about your business? Because I just love how it's so much of you and your son like in it, and like you guys beam this wonderful radiance of just happiness, and I don't know, you just seem very grounded, and I love seeing your content on
Oh, thank
Instagram.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
I think the business for us was a metamorphosis. I feel like it was a metamorphosis for both Phoenix and I, for kind of finding ourselves. Um, and obviously he's younger, so he's got many years to continue to grow, and so do I. And so I hope we continue to change and grow till the day we die. But I feel like it was a homecoming and changing into someone different in the positive way. um it feels it's more than a business, it's our life, it's how we're trying to live in a more grounded, connected, I hope a more beneficial way of whoever comes into part with. Obviously, it's a business and we're trying to make money to live, but it's more than that. It's really who we want to be, and I hope that comes through. I feels like it
absolutely.
sounds like it. It's like anything else. It's crazy. It's a business. You have to learn how to basically turn yourself into an origami piece because you're constantly bobbing and weaving. And I will say, challenges with us being a hemp company. We definitely, anyone who goes into this thinking you're going to make and you're going to be rich is full of caca. It's a labor of love. It's a passion. There is so much against you going into it. Our processing is more expensive. Our insurance is more expensive. You can't advertise. You get kicked off of things. Um, we follow all the regulations, and businesses and companies will decide to all of a sudden change the way they decide that they're going to cover hemp. We've had 3 websites, 3 processors, because all of a sudden they're like, no, we don't honor the 3%. We do 2%. Your products are over that. So that has been challenging and has definitely make me go, why are we doing that?
Oh, I know, right? Like all the
Yeah,
red tape. What's up with,
yeah,
it's everything. There's so much red tape in this world. It's insanity,
yeah, yeah.
literally.
But it really comes down to believing in what we're doing,
Yeah.
and that's why we do it. Phoenix, it's about offering products, knowing that what he's gone through, being able to be a resource for people who need it, who can find clean product, have it be natural, know where it's coming from. I drive him crazy where there's a lot of bad players out there. There are a lot of companies out there who don't have all their COAs, who are using the synthetic cannabinoids,
Right.
and to each their own.
Right.
But we had, in the very beginning, he's like, we should get on this cannabinoid, we should get on this cannabinoid. And I looked at him and said, we are a wellness company based on nature. I'm not going to offer the synthetic cannabinoids. I just won't do it. I'm like, okay, to everyone. But, so for us, it's about the plant. It's about
Yeah.
what 100% comes out for the plant. So he works his booty off. He is very hard, always making sure, the vendors that we work with have everything, how they're processing it, who goes through all that. He's like a walking encyclopedia, like I feel I'm knowledgeable, but he'll even say, he's so humble, be like, there's so much I still, need to learn. But it's very important to him. He works really hard, a lot of research. He's we're small, so we're small in comparison, but I'm really proud of what he does, what he puts out there, what he looks for. um that's really important to us. And it's very important to us. Like, we may not be huge, so we will have, what we consider to be small batches, and we have vendors, and then we make some of our own stuff, and that goes to processors. Because obviously within the legal limits of it, we did not get an actual processing license. We go through where we're able to sell the hemp, but our vendors are responsible for that. And then anything like a few of our salves and soaps and stuff, there are ingredients, but we go through a processor because the processor jumps through all the hoops, and then they
Okay,
give it.
cool.
So
Yeah.
that's our hemp side of it. The botanical side of it, we have the licensing to do the small batches and the natural, but we do that, we do all that ourselves. And
That's awesome.
as we've grown, I grow some of it, but we've grown that I can't keep up. So we, outreach. There's a couple farms that I work with, and then a couple amazing companies they're all organic and wild forage. And so I love that. So I know everything where it's coming from.
Yes.
Um, so those are all the things that are super important to us. And that's kind of, what matters is that we know that we're staying true to what our beliefs are.
I love
Because
that.
because we could have jumped on the bandwagons and probably made a windfall on
Right.
things. And I do make him mad at times, and he believes in what I believe, but he'll be like, I was like, oh, and I'm like, I can't. I was like, I just can't. It's like, I don't want to put things out there. It's like, it feels wrong saying we're a wellness company, and then we advocate so much about not having synthetics in the botanical things, let alone in the hemp, that it's like, I just no.
Yeah,
So
no, I feel you. I'm not a fan of those either. I like all
yeah.
natural.
Well, and I'm trying. I don't want to. It's a choice for us,
Right.
So like, you never want to, like, because I want to uplift everyone in the community and to each their own.
Right.
I That's really important. Um,
Yes.
it's been interesting because I find it a little sad sometimes because you have this wonderful community that will come together, but then there's some really weird competition, and I'm always like going, so remember, there's always enough to go around.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have the government trying to tear us down enough as it is.
Right.
Let's not help
Yes. Preach,
work
girl. Yes.
together and lift up, and you
Yes,
know
for sure. Absolutely. 100. We definitely need to do that. Yeah, just like the main goal, like federal when the hope is this thing gets federally
Mm.
legalized. I mean, it'd be really nice to just be descheduled. That would be
Oh yeah,
the
I
ultimate
know.
dream. But like if we can even get
Yeah.
it rescheduled to a Schedule 3 so we can do like real research or, something that
I know.
that's what
The
they
only
need.
bad thing, yeah, the bad thing with that is that if it goes through the Schedule 3, then it has to jump through the, USDA and the FDA, and the amount of testing, and then they're going to have to do that. If I understand it correctly, they'll have to do that for every edible, for topical, for ingestible. And I feel like at times, and this is just my going down the rabbit hole, I'm like, are they pushing for that so hard because that's going to be easy to take all this stuff off the plate for so long,
You mean
you know?
like uh changing what we do now state to state or
Oh yeah, well the state, well, and maybe that I need to research it a little bit more, but my understanding with the Schedule 3 is if it does go through the Schedule 3 and then has to go through where you can only get it prescribed by a doctor through the pharmacies,
oh, you mean like it'll turn to like a pharmaceutical thing versus yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's what definitely like a fear too of mine that they would make
yeah,
that like kind of monopolize it, make it, you know, a
yeah,
government thing. That would not be beneficial for everyone, I don't think.
I know,
If we could get like, I don't know, private grants for people to do, private research to where, I mean, I feel
yeah.
like that would be nice too.
I believe there needs to be regulation. I mean, you need to have regulation always because you do. I mean, you have people who are, selling things in, drugstores and gas stations. And
Right.
yes, I
Yeah.
mean, so it's like, I understand that it's become such a big business that there's things that need to be done to make sure. And I think anyone who's trying to do it the right way and really wants to be part of a community of healing is to be like,
Right.
okay, let's
Yeah,
regulate us. Let's put
absolutely.
through so that there are things that everyone is required to do and get stuff off, that you don't want people. I mean, it's the same thing like, having, the cigarettes and the alcohol and, having it, not be accessible to people who are underage. The same
Right.
thing. I mean, that does. I mean, I get that. However, let's treat it the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure.
Because literally alcohol and I mean, alcohol is the number one addictive foreign substance in our state. Don't know about the world, but our non-state in our country. Um, and it's one of the most harmful of what it does to you. It's the
Hmm.
thing that I'm aware of that you can be addicted to severely, and they will make you continue to take it because if some people go cold turkey, it actually will shut down your system.
Yeah, you
And
will die if you, yeah.
yes, so it's like, okay, you can't say you regulate this, which is
Right.
more harmful for you, and then not say, okay, let's try to find a way to regulate this plant that is not as harmful. Let's be somewhat equal about that, and I
Yeah.
think the hypocrisy on
Yes.
them is,
Hypocrisy is a good word.
are you feeling that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good word for it. It's what it
yeah.
is. It's just, yeah, it's not, it's medicine, like what is, I say the only thing alcohol really is good for is, cleaning stuff, but, what other medical,
True.
you know, and
Yeah.
yeah, we use it to, um, whatever it is, the chemistry stuff to
Yes, right. Yeah.
things and whatever it's called. I'm not going to pretend I know all that jazz. But yes. Is there anything else you want to say? I just want to say this has been so great. I really enjoyed this conversation and kind of going every little place and um learning about your business and knowing more on how like it is so you and your son. I love that. So do you want to tell the people where they can find you?
Yes. So we have wellfedwolf.com is our botanical site. We also have our hemp site, which is WFW hemp.net. And then we have our Well-Fed Wolf, through Instagram, and our natural remedies is me on Instagram. I'm so bad at like what it's actually natural remedies dot underscore. You'll have to look because I can't remember. Um, we also are on X Twitter, both of us. He actually just dragged me over onto Twitter about a month ago because he's like, you need to put yourself out there more. And I'm just like, oh, fine.
Oh, he
But
does all the things, doesn't he? He's on like YouTube,
yeah,
Instagram, and
oh
he's
yes, yes, YouTube as
I'm like, how
well.
do you have all that energy, dude? Like,
Well, he needs to take a little bit of break. Sometimes he works too hard. So
like
I
to
was
be
just
in your
literally
20s, man.
right. I know. I'm like rubbed off on some of the fun. But yeah, no, I love what you're doing. I
Thank
love what
you.
you're putting out there.
Appreciate that.
You're so raw in yourself. And I think having, someone who is in, you're educated, you're in a field that is very well respected. And neither that doesn't matter, but it's important because you are not what people think of.
Right,
And
absolutely.
and that's what we need more of. And
Yes.
so that's why I love what, and I love you're connected to, nature and the spirits and, putting all of that out there. And then I love that you'll just, cuss at the drop of a hat sometimes and showing people because it needs to be like, okay, we're real human beings. This is
Yeah, we're
what we're doing. And
multifaceted
yes,
people,
yes,
like I'm not always happy-go-lucky. I can get mad and I don't like to, but I can.
yeah.
Or say
So
what I
I love,
will.
yeah. So I just want to tell you thank you
Thank
for everything that
you.
you're doing.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Um, that's important. And I just, I literally actually, and I hope this was okay. I probably should have asked first, but I actually put over on Twitter was talking about you and was like, I'm doing something. It's like, please go follow. And I'll
Thank
probably
you.
share.
Oh, I love that so much. Ah, you're gonna give me like you're gonna make me cry or make me just smile so much. I think I'm trying to take in more of that. Like I still work as a nurse, and I go from facility to facility. Right now, I'm taking a position as an assistant director of nursing. So I'm working full time now.
Yeah.
But I love being able to walk into a place and they're just like, oh my God, we're so glad you're here. Like you're so nice. And I'm like, oh my God, am I really that nice? But yeah, well, thank you. I try to be authentic. Yeah, I'm not always like but it's like I want to bring life into the world. So, and I feel that from you guys. You guys just want to bring life into the world. So I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for doing this with me. I love this. We should do this some more.